Welcome back to my channel, guys. This is the Red Elevator. I'm Nina Takesh, and today we are going to look at the top 7 real-life bedroom layouts you are not going to want to miss. Follow me. Okay, so many of you have issues with layouts with your bedroom. In fact, I have met a lot of you on my Zoom consultations and we have had issues. We've had windows in the way, we've had walls that are not working. So let's talk about some of these things and how you can improve your current bedroom layout or absolutely change it around. Layout number 1. I call this the centered square. So let's start with maximizing the most straightforward bedroom shape that often presents more opportunities than challenges. And this layout works particularly well in rooms ranging from 12 to 12 feet or even up to 15 by 15 feet. So if you have a square, this is really easy to do, where the equal walls create a natural balance and multiple furniture arrangement options are available to you. And the most effective arrangement for me that I really have implemented many times starts with strategic bed placement, which is always where you want to start. Center it on the longest wall that you have. Well, it's the wall that doesn't have a window in your case because these rooms are square, and allowing for equal access on both of those sides, but avoid tucking it against a wall. Like, that is a big no-no in interior design, is never to stick your wall in the corner. It's also not feng shui, and it also disrupts not only the flow, but also the functionality, so you definitely don't want to do that. You want to maintain 30 inches of clearance on each side for comfortable movement and circulation, and match this symmetrical placement with identical bedside tables so that you reinforce this balance. With the bed centered on the wall, you've got several prime spots for your main dresser. I particularly like it to go opposite the end of the bed because it creates really a nice balance, because it's a very heavy piece on one wall. Then the foot of the bed will therefore have on the opposite side the credenza, or your large centered wall unit. And on the wall perpendicular to the bed's headboard, create a mini sitting area, especially if there's a window there. This is the perfect spot to have 2 chairs, a little bistro set you could call it, or a little sitting area where you can read. And at the foot of the bed, you should always add something if you have the space. So you could either do a bench, or you could also do a little seating area if your perpendicular sides, meaning the sides that don't have the bed or the credenza, don't give you enough space. Now, if you found this information valuable, I urge you to subscribe, because we're going to give you more and more high-level information so that you can transform your home. All right, layout number 2 in a primary suite with a fireplace focus. Now, some of us are lucky enough to have a fireplace in our rooms, so this layout exemplifies luxury living. So who are we kidding? Not all of us have them, but if you are lucky enough to have a fireplace, what you want to do is you want to maintain perfect functionality. So you want to orient the furniture towards the fireplace, ideally, because that's where you're going to be sitting and getting a little bit of the warmth from the fireplace. So by orienting the furniture toward a fireplace wall, you create an automatic focal point that grounds the entire space. So your feature, your famous, and if you're building a home, I really encourage you to put a fireplace wall because they're so lovely. And you can also pop in after the fact fireplace walls. So they have all sorts of technology now where you can do it without having the fluting and the exit, but you can do it in a way that's very intentional. So the key really is the positioning, and the bed should be centered on the fireplace wall if possible, with equal space on either side for generously sized nightstands, ideally 28 to 30 inches wide. Now, what makes this layout exceptional is its creation of distinct zones, and this does not have to sacrifice flow. So a pair of comfortable chairs positioned near the fireplace creates an intimate seating area that feels connected to the room, yet separates from the sleeping space. I love having that. It almost feels like what it would be in a hotel. so that you really can have defined spaces in your room. And you could even have, you could be in your bed, watching Netflix on your device, and your husband could be sitting, in the sitting area. So it has a lot of usability, and the secret to success is here, in this case, is maintaining at least 42 inches of clearance between the bed's foot and the seating arrangement. So you got to make sure you've got that distance. If you don't, then it's going to feel overly cluttered. In larger rooms, this layout really shines because if you have a large enough wall, you could certainly do built-ins on each side, or you could, bring in sconces on each side, and it just becomes a natural spot for extra storage if you need it. You could put two identical, armoires or credenzas, and that really gives you the balance that you're looking for. And then if you're going to do that on each side of the fireplace, I encourage you to decorate them similarly. So I would put two identical lamps, etc., because you want to keep that symmetry, but the small decorative objects can be different. Now, for those of you struggling with a layout for your primary bedroom, or any room for that matter, luckily I have a Zoom consultation link in the description section. All you have to do is click the link, I pop up, and once you click that link, my calendar is available for you to book a 25-minute or 55-minute or longer Zoom, where I can give you one-on-one advice, which I have been so lucky to do over the last couple years, and have been so amazed by all the different people I've met and all the different dilemmas that you guys have had. It's been quite a challenge, and we've found so many great ways of saving you time, saving you money, and implementing some really good strategies on these calls. So layout number 3, long room layout. A lot of us have these long, narrow rooms. If you live in Boston, you understand what I'm talking about. And it's not just Boston, it's many cities in back east primarily, or even San Francisco, have these narrow, long rooms. They present unique challenges, but this layout is the perfect solution because it transforms potential awkwardness into a very functional, intentional layout. So what you want to do in this case is you want to position the bed parallel to the shorter wall. That's very important. And this will create a distinct zone within the space. And this approach prevents the common bowling alley effect while allowing you, a lot of versatility in your room. The key to success here is proper spacing. So maintain 30 inches minimum between the bed and the walls, with a clear 36-inch path, I would say, more or less down the center. This allows comfortable circulation while creating natural divisions in your space. The beauty of this layout is how it segments the room into clearly defined areas, which I really like. And perhaps you could have a dressing zone at one end or a seating area at the other. Each zone feels very purposeful and can be tailor-made to your liking and your lifestyle. All right, layout number 4, the bay window primary suite. So many of you have this, especially if you've got larger homes. And for whatever reason, builders love these windows, and it makes it challenging for designers. So this layout is for bedrooms that really have these architectural details that you don't expect in a room, yet they are challenging. So I would always suggest to my clients to create a cocoon in that area. So you see a lot of these in new construction, or old Victorian homes actually have them. In this particular layout, I would position your bed centrally in the room rather than trying to squeeze it into the window. Do not ever put your bed near a window. In my opinion, it just doesn't look good. Then you don't know what to do with your curtains, etc. Like, it's just not a good look. A lot of people are shoving beds in there, and I say, please don't do that. So that's a big mistake. Then you also have 2 focal points. You've got your bed, that's a focal point. You've got this lovely seating area. And the key measurement here is maintaining at least 36 inches from the foot of the bed to where the bay window area begins. And this space will allow you for easy circulation. Now, for the wall spaces that are flanking the bay windows, built-in cabinetry is always a good idea. This gives you additional ability to customize your space. So if you have a lot of books, if you have a lot of objects, if you need extra storage, these are the best places to tuck them in, or you could even put identical dressers on each side if the room permits. And it will therefore maintain and maximize storage while keeping your symmetry. Layout number 5, the multi-door primary suite. Okay, how many of us have this problem? I don't know why I don't know why builders do what they do. This is why architects and interior designers need to work together, because an architect is not thinking about that. He's thinking about the general, architecture of the building, the exterior of the building, and really does not care, in my experience, about the layout of the bedroom and where you put your nightstand and where you're going to take off your shoes, etc. So in rooms like this, I find that there are several doors. You've got the door to the bathroom, you've got the door to the bedroom, you've got the door to the closet, and it becomes overwhelming. So start by identifying the longest uninterrupted wall, and that becomes your bed wall. That has to be the wall that has your bed. If there happens to be a window on that wall, well, one trick we've done over and over again in many of my projects, even recently, is we will put a ceiling to floor curtain that has blocked the light. So we will put lining there that is about essentially blackout lining. And what that does is that it creates a beautiful wall of curtain that you're never going to open, and that camouflages the window. Hopefully you have another window in the room that will bring in light. I wouldn't do that if that's your only source of light. However, in many of these cases, we find that there's a double door in the room, and then we've got these random windows that don't work for us, in which case we put a floor to ceiling curtain. In fact, here's a project we did that, which I'm going to pop in here. In this home, brand new build, we had 2 windows that were enormous, and they just didn't allow us to have the kind of cohesive layout we wanted. So we basically did curtains behind, and in fact we do open them and you can have the light shine in, which is fine, but when they're closed, everything looks symmetrical and it looks beautiful. So let's go back to this awkward room. Instead of leaving these awkward gaps empty, integrate furniture pieces that fit precisely between door frames. So a dresser, a console between the main door and the closet entry works. For instance, transform dead space into a functional storage. Maybe a desk. There are ways to make it look like it was intentional. For the wall opposite the bed, avoid the temptation to push furniture against it. Instead, create a small seating area that floats slightly into the room, perhaps 24 inches off the wall, or even less. You could do somewhere between 12 and 24 inches. This might be 2 small scale club chairs with floating side table. It could also be like a little love seat. This arrangement maintains clear paths to all doors while establishing a secondary functional zone in the room. Layout number 6. So the small primary suite solution. So we have all the different layouts for you guys, and I'm hoping that some of you have these layouts. And if you are, please sound off. I want to know what layout you have, or what layout are you going to be attempting, and where are your challenges? So what happens in a small primary suite is that you want to make sure not to use oversized furniture, because that's going to give the room, first of all, difficulty of mobility. It's going to overwhelm the space, and instead of cramming in, just large traditional bedroom pieces that you might have already had, unfortunately, I'm going to recommend that you get rid of them, because it's important that you live beautifully, and in order to live beautifully, you need minimal furniture. So a bed frame that basically does not protrude outside of the mattress is important. Always check and read the dimensions of your bed frame or whatever it may be, because it can actually really help reduce this cramming effect by making sure that it's a very minimal bed frame. I would put the bed against the largest wall. I think we've established that. And then perhaps what I would like to do, and what I'm going to recommend, is to mount your nightstands to the walls. So you have a little bit of breathing room. Your nightstands don't need to be that large. I would find the smallest nightstands that fit nicely within those corners. And I would really just encapsulate the bare minimum so that you don't feel like you are drowning in this room. The brilliance really lies in the details. So pendant lights are really important in this case. It'll declutter your nightstands and will allow you to put your water, your books, whatever you need on your nightstands. This thoughtful approach maintains clean lines. It creates a lot of breathing room throughout your room, and it keeps clearance around the bed and near your nightstands, which is really important. Layout number 7 is an unusual one, but needs to be addressed because many of you, unfortunately, have an alcove in the center of the room. Now, this could be for a number of reasons. Perhaps there's a fireplace on the other side, and who knows why these alcoves exist. But if you have one, what you want to do is you want to put your bed against the alcove, and the alcove actually could be protruding out, and sometimes it's protruding in, which makes it more difficult if it protrudes in, because then your nightstands are away from your wall. But in any event, you want to put your bed against this alcove, and hopefully the width of the alcove is precisely the size of your headboard. If not, you're in trouble and you're going to have to call me and we're going to have to zoom and pivot. But you don't want your bed to go outside of this alcove. That looks very, very bad. So position the bed in the center and add built-ins on either side or nightstands that fit beautifully in that space. So make sure you're measuring everything. Option 2, when alcoves, chimneys are too narrow for the bed, then you want to center the bed on the opposite wall or the wall that's straight and create enough clearance on each side. So you transform both alcoves into certain functional zones. Maybe you have matching built-ins, probably the best idea, or matching bookcases you can float in there. And then it'll give you a lot of options for storage. And floor to ceiling shelving units are always a great idea. So you could even do that. And you can buy these shelves online and just stick them in and get a good carpenter to do so. So a combination of sort of closed storage and open storage also works. Thank you for joining me on this bedroom layout YouTube. I hope this was helpful. I hope I was able to answer some of your dilemmas. If not, sound off below if you've got a particular primary bedroom issue, and I will be happy to weigh in. I can't wait to see you guys again next week on this channel, The Red Elevator.